Hi, I'm Ztarli, and in this video I'll be drawing another Flame Stalker, but this one has a little bit of a story behind it. Just before the release of the Flame Stalker, I was on a test server helping test the servers before release, when suddenly out of nowhere the lead developer showed up. He posed his dragon and told me I could draw his dragon if I wanted to. So I thought, you know what, I will. I quickly grabbed some screenshots and downloaded them to my tablet so that I could draw my dragon when I had time. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to do it for a while because I was already in the middle of editing some videos for my Artflow series, so I didn't get the chance to do it until this weekend. This is one of my longer art pieces to do, so it took 5 hours from start to finish, as I was actually drawing an entire dragon as well as a smaller hatchling, which is supposed to be my dragon actually drawing the posed Flame Stalker. So I have sped this video up quite a lot. It's actually at times 20 speed, so you don't end up watching a 5-hour video. As usual, I started with a sketch. I did actually double sketch this one. So I had an original layer with the red colored lines, which was a very loose sketch, and then I re-sketched over top with the green to refine it more. I did struggle a little bit with the face shape or the nose shape. I've used the select tool and transform tool. I used it both in the sketch and the line art, but I am happy with the end result once I do get everything in place. All the reference pictures you see on this page are from the actual game itself, so I just grabbed some screenshots while I was playing. So they are actually all from in-game footage from the game Day of Dragons. I've now moved on to inking, so I've got a separate layer above my sketch layer, and I've just used the rectangular paintbrush, which is from the first section of the paintbrushes, and I have got smoothing on as well, just to help reduce that wobble in my line. Because this video is sped up so quickly, it might be hard for you to sort of see what's going on. If you do want more in-depth information on how I normally draw, or what tools I'm using and that kind of thing, I did actually make a 6-part video on how I use Artflow, which goes into detail on exactly the tools I'm using and what I'm doing when. So if you do want a better look at that, I will have a link to that in the description below as well. And here's me inking the little hatchling. I got to be a dark iconic on the test server, which was the first time I'd played as one, and I was just growing on my own near a puddle. There was actually nobody else around when the developer showed up. The little square thing in front of it is meant to be my tablet. When I make it smaller later on, it's not quite as obvious, but that's essentially what my tablet looks like. So it's just kind of like a rectangle with a black edge to it and a glowing screen. So there's not much else I could do to make it look like what it is. I hope the idea still comes across on the finished picture. Every time I draw this dragon, I'm just reminded more and more of how much I actually like it, because I spend so much time looking at reference of it and trying to get it right. I start to see parts of it more and more, and I actually really like the chest of this dragon and its front legs and how its wings attach to its body. I like that sort of bulky, muscular sort of look to that area. I really enjoyed drawing and coloring it. I think this is the first time I've drawn a full-length Flame Stalker. Okay, I've cut the tips of the wings off and you can't quite see the whole tail, but the past pictures I've drawn of the Flame Stalker are all just they're just headshots, and I think I drew one from the shoulders up. Oh, the baby one's a full one, but it's just a hatchling, so it didn't have its full spikes or anything. I guess it does sort of still count as a full picture of a Flame Stalker though. Alright, this is the first full adult picture of a Flame Stalker. I decided to do a full background for this one because I did want it to sort of look like the screenshot from the game. So I do the backgrounds first if I do plan on having a complete background, as when I color the dragon itself, I do want to integrate the colors into the dragon. So I do find it beneficial to actually at least get a base idea down of your background before coloring the actual character itself, so you can integrate some of the surrounding colors into the colors of the characters. It just makes it look a bit more realistic and a bit more like they are actually in the frame. I'm actually quite pleased with how this background came out as well. I didn't put a great deal of effort into it, but I just liked how the trees turned out, even though they're quite minimal. I think the impression of them, or the idea of the trees, comes across quite easily, and I didn't have to spend too much time doing it. Some of you might have noticed already, but I do like painting on a larger canvas. So I'll often choose a canvas that's larger than what my end picture will end up being, and I'll just like sort of paint past the borders of things and then crop it down later. I just have this weird thing about having to paint to a straight line. I don't like doing it, so I find it easier for myself if I'm free to paint past the border and then just crop it down to the size I prefer, and then I have a bit of choice on what size I actually crop it to as well. I've now moved on to flat colors, so I've done the flat color for the top dragon, and I'm just quickly doing the flat color for the bottom dragon. I actually don't do a lot of color adjusting in this one. I pretty much settle on the colors straight away, and even with the choosing of what blending mode I use for the line art, I pretty much just go straight to multiply for both of them and just leave it at that. So most of the time spent on this is actually, once again, it's the painting stage. I spent about 3 hours on the painting stage of this one. So 2 hours being spent on the sketching, line art, background, and the shadow layer, which I'm doing now. Don't worry about the garish red I'm using for the shadows. I'm gonna change that. It's just so I can actually see the shadows. I find it hard to see shadows on darker colors, especially when something's supposed to be black. So I will color in like a brighter color so I can see the shadows, and then I'll adjust it to a darker tone later to actually make it look like the shadows on the skin of the creature. I already start integrating some of the surrounding colors into the dragon, so I've just got some reflected light on the undersides a part of the dragon. I don't actually do a highlight layer for this picture. I decided I wasn't going to do that. I was going to try not doing that this time because I'm not very good at the highlight layer, and I thought I might just try painting the highlights straight onto the dragon. I do actually struggle with getting the correct color to begin with, so you'll see I put down a color and then I end up painting over it with a slightly a more blue color, a more greenish sort of color for the lights. And I also struggle a bit with the scales when I start putting scales onto the dragon. It is a bit hard to get the right color if you're doing the scales where you have like light between the scales. You kind of have to try get the right darkness to the scales, otherwise it just looks weird. But I get there in the end, and I'm quite happy with how the scales look by the end of the picture. Once I did get the right color for the scales, it actually is a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy painting on large scales and like painting that bit of light in between the scales. I find it really satisfying when you get it right, and I really like how it looks. I know that that's not the way scales always look. I just find it fun to paint them that way, and I really enjoyed painting this, even though it took such a long time. I was having fun painting it and mixing in slightly different tones here and there and adding all the scales on and reflected light, and I was very happy with how it looked once it was finished. By the way, this is meant to be the black skin for the Flame Stalker. I know it looks grey, but I wanted to be able to see some definition in it. I actually had trouble being able to see anything in the reference pictures for the black Flame Stalker because it's such a dark colour. I actually had to adjust the images quite a bit just to be able to see any detail in them at all. And although it would have been very easy for me to paint my Flame Stalker completely black and not bother with any definition, I actually wanted to spend some time doing this and spend some time actually doing a fully painted dragon and having some fun with the scales, as I said before. So that's where it kind of ends up looking a bit grayer than normal. And of course I have to add a tiny bit of blush in, even if it's just a microscopic amount, just to add some bit of colour in his cheeks, because he has got his cheeky smile happening here. And things are more fun when you mix a few different colors in anyway. So for my previous Day of Dragons video, I was drawing the live stream colored Flame Stalker. It's since been renamed and slightly recolored to Swamp Geyser. Guys, is that how you say it? Swamp Thing. And I decided I would try some different colored Flame Stalkers. So I have actually switched to the grey colored one. And I'm lucky enough to have a Kickstarter key as I did back the game before its original release. So I actually have the shimmer skin on the grey at the moment, which I'm quite enjoying. But I think I like the Burning Bright so much too, though. It's really hard to decide. But I think if I draw another Flame Stalker, I might draw the grey one, just because I've noticed that the grey skin Flame Stalker has like a light grey skin and then the darker grey scales on it. And as mentioned, I do like painting those scales, the dark scales on a lighter skin. I think it's fun. And it's pleasing for me to see scales like that or paint scales like that. It's really enjoyable. So if I do another Flame Stalker video, maybe it'll be another new icon for my Discord as the grey shimmer Flame Stalker. After I've finally finished drawing Flame Stalkers, I might do another Day of Dragons one. I'm thinking maybe I'll redraw the Micro Feather Dragon. When it first came out, I did draw a picture of it, of a few of them in like Australian parrot colours, and I really liked the lorikeet one, so maybe I'll redraw that as like a better picture, because it was just a speed paint and they were really sloppy. So maybe I'll redraw either one of the concept skins of the Micro Feather, or I'll just do the lorikeet version of it. Either that or the bioluminescent dragon. I haven't drawn that at all yet, and it is really cute. I really like it, and I'm really looking forward to it being in game. So I'm not sure which one to draw next. What do you guys think? Do you think I should draw the Micro Feather first, or the bio dragon, or maybe a completely different dragon? Or maybe you want more Pokemon videos. I have actually got, I drew a Noivern and I have a recording of it. I just haven't cut it together and put the editing in yet, because I was just so excited about playing the dragon game. It's just sitting in my folder unfinished. But if you'd like to see that instead, let me know and I'll do the editing for it and get it up. So pretty much finished with the adult dragon. I actually think I think it's either an elder dragon or an ancient. I'm actually not sure which one it is, but it is above an adult dragon. Later when I was walking around on the server, I did see the developer next to adult dragons. It was definitely way bigger, and its spikes are way spikier as well. So it's definitely not an adult. It's either an elder or an ancient. I'm not quite sure which one it is. But I'm now moving on to my little hatchling. Just did some green shadows and then adjusted them. I don't actually spend much time on the hatchling at all. It's pretty small, and because you can only see the back of it, it's not very detailed. So the hatchling didn't take much time at all. Most of the time for this picture was all spent on the adult or elder or ancient, whatever it is. Even though the hatchling's only small, I still add that reflected color from the ground. So I added a bit of sort of khaki green in there, and I have to add the glow from the tablets to try and make it more obvious that that's what it's holding. It's holding a device that I'm drawing on, which is what I draw all my pictures on. And we're in the final stretch now, so I start detailing the background more, adding some reflection from the dragon and the water and the little bits of grass and stuff. I also duplicate the larger dragon layer and blur it completely, and then I erase the parts of the dragon that I want to be in focus. I also blur the hatchling dragon layer because I don't want it to be the focus of the picture. It's supposed to be out of focus, and the larger dragon in the background is the focus of the picture. I will actually do a similar thing with the parts of the background that are closer to the hatchling, so the larger grass chunks there and the bush there, I'm going to blur them as well, so that it's definitely the focus of the picture is the larger dragon. And then flip the image back to its original position. I just, for some reason, I always have to draw my dragons or my pictures facing one way, but I actually wanted this to be in the same direction as the original screenshot. So I flipped it so I could draw and color the whole thing, and then I flip it back when I'm in the home stretch so that any text I put on the page is written the right way and you don't have to read it by looking in a mirror or anything. I'm actually going to add the little icon that displays above your dragons and the little name tag here. And I also add a speech bubble just to say what was actually said in it. So it is still supposed to be like, I don't know, yeah, a painting or a cartoon version of the scene that happened in game. And after some final adjustments and repositioning of the speech bubble and name tag, the picture is done. I just crop it down to the size I'd like it to be. And I'm super happy with how this came out. I actually really like how my black dragon came out and how the little hatchling is out of focus. I really enjoyed doing this picture and I'm really pleased with how it came out. Let me know what you think, or if you think I could improve in some way. Give me some feedback down below in the comment section. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please give me a like, and if you do want to see more content like this in the future, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!